Hi, I'm Jay. I'm writing my first YA novel that I would like to publish in 2026. This is me documenting the process and the journey. Today I wanted to talk to you about why I'm handwriting my novel and what that looks like. Let's go! So my book is a young adult coming-of-age story set in Sweden, and it's about a 14-year-old girl who has to find a way to buy a moped so she can accompany her best friends to a TV traineeship the following spring and stay in the friendship group before they and everyone else around her forget about her completely. I think I surprised a few people last time by mentioning that I'm writing my novel by hand, and I just wanted to go into a little bit of what that means, what my process is like. So I've been doing morning pages for about a year now. Morning pages is an exercise that comes from the Artist's Way book by Julia Cameron. It's a great way to get back into creativity. I was really struggling at one point, and so I followed her 6-week course, I think it is. But morning pages is something that you do every day before you do anything else. You get up and you write 2 pages of absolute rubbish. It can be anything you want, really, but the point of it is to get stuff out of your head, especially if you're struggling with creativity. I've been doing that for about a year, and I've just seen tremendous progress in my writing and my ability to come up with creative ideas again after a long dry period. But now that I'm writing this novel, I've actually been using that time to work on the novel itself. So I will get up in the morning and write a scene or a chapter or a character study. I work Monday to Wednesday, freelance, so I do this before work. Then I put the notebook aside, go to work, and get on with my day. At the end of the day, I will pick up my notebook again, and now it's time to copy everything I've done onto my laptop. Now, I really enjoy this process. I find it really relaxing, I think for a few different reasons. One is because I get to read what I wrote in a kind of groggy morning haze, but I also tend to edit. I know there's a discussion about, especially on your first draft, you shouldn't edit as you go, but I do, and I don't think I could do it any other way. So when I'm reading what I've written in the morning and then copying it into my laptop, I'll see, oh, I could expand here. That didn't really make sense. And what I find is I actually add a lot more than was there in the beginning, and it just gives me time to kind of come to terms with the story that I'm writing and develop it. I also get a huge sense of accomplishment just as the word count goes up on my document, because I'm adding in words that I've already written, and then you kind of add in extra paragraphs and you get even more, so that feels really good. And I also feel like I'm reading the story twice. So I'm really taking it in and able to kind of sit with it. I'm a very tactile person. I love notebooks, I love paper, I love feeling that there's something real that I'm actually making with my hands. So I think this works for me, writing by hand. And then obviously it does have to be copied into a laptop. So what is my writing background? I'm not a published author, although I do have one children's book on Amazon, but I don't think that really counts. In terms of fiction, I have had some short stories published online. There was a period where I was really trying to get short stories published and made it kind of my goal, but then life got in the way. So I've done NaNoWriMo in the past, and the first NaNoWriMo I ever did, I wrote this. Now this is not published, I never put this online, because it's terrible and no one on earth is ever going to tell me that I can rework this into anything. This was basically my version of The Handmaid's Tale. I had never read The Handmaid's Tale. I didn't even know what it was about, wrote this, remember pitching it to someone and they were like, that's The Handmaid's Tale, so no. And then years later I watched the series and I was like, how embarrassing. But the great thing about doing this was it taught me I could get to a certain word threshold. And then I wrote a memoir, which is also never going to see the light of day, but it's nice for me, which is a lot thicker. And again, that just showed me that I could actually write that length. And I think it was good to do those as projects to show myself, because the idea of writing such a long piece seemed insurmountable to me. So that was great, but you're never going to see those. This is a picture that I drew when I was starting the story before I'd redeveloped it, which describes the two main characters. Well, they're kind of the two main characters, and that's the girl, whose name I'm not going to reveal yet because I'm not sure I'm keeping it. And originally it was an actual fox. So in this picture there's a fox, but because I have a dog and she's a border collie, I've actually mapped the character of this dog in the book to my dog. So the dog is called Fox, but she's not a fox, she's a border collie. And she's a very difficult border collie. And my main character has a very difficult time with her. And that's one of the relationships that we will see unfold across the course of the story. I set the book in Sweden because I have some family there and I made a lot of trips there when I was younger. And I found it a really evocative place. It's really beautiful. The nature of society there it just lends itself to a cozy, sweet coming-of-age story, and there's lots of places I can take it. I also think writing something outside of a culture I know really well is just a little bit of fun, because I know bits of it, so I can sort of play around with it, but not really know what I'm talking about as well. So I have to do a lot of research. So the premise is that the main character feels left out. She doesn't fit in. She's having a hard time at school. She's having a hard time with her family. She wants to go and, she's at that age where she's trying to find who she is and she just doesn't want to be in this town anymore. And so this moped is freedom for her. Something I'm really drawn to in writing is looking at quirky, odd characters. So that is something I'm really trying to do, is each character is defined but has this real oddness to them, which I often find is quite comedic. I like bringing out exaggerating elements of different characters, all drawn from my experiences across my life, and then kind of developing those experiences into characters that live in their own way. And then my main character is sort of interacting with all these different characters. There are many books that I could probably say I was inspired by, but in terms of not the way it's written and maybe the maturity of this, but if anybody has seen the film Joy with Jennifer Lawrence, and we think about the family and the dysfunction and the humorousness that comes out of that, also Silver Linings Playbook, if we just think about that but taking out all of the adult stuff, I think we're finding ourselves in the right area. I find that stuff really funny. And I love painting those characters. I just love it. It's something, that's why I redeveloped this story from the one it was going to be, because I discovered when I was writing short stories that I actually love character, like portraits of people and describing how they interact. And yeah. I follow a really great YouTuber on here called Natalia Lee. Her company, Enchanted Ink Publishing, do services like editing and proofreading and all of that, but she does some really great videos on writing. She made a video this year about having a release timeline for self-publishing your book in 2026, so I've downloaded that. I'm going to do another video about what my timeline for this book looks like, but for now, briefly, what I'm planning is I want to have a first draft finished in the first quarter, and then we're going to go from there. I would like to be kind of publishing this book at the end of 2026, but we're not putting any pressure on ourselves. We're taking it easy, we're still having fun, but that is the idea. Yeah, I'm trying to get to 20,000 words in the next couple of weeks. I'm so close to hitting so I'm aiming for 30,000 words for this, so I'm almost at 15,000. I'd like to hit 20 in the next week or two, and then I'll feel like I've really made some progress with it. So that is the goal, but it's been a very busy week. Before that, I'd had a video about it being a bit of a bad writing week. Then the year's picking up, so it's just starting to become harder to do all these projects in the time that I have. So if you are writing cozy YA, I don't know if that's a thing, I just said that now. Basically, it's not sci-fi, it's not fantasy, it's about family, dysfunctional family and relationships. It's a little bit funny. If you're writing that kind of age 14, 15 age range, so let me know what you're working on. I'd love to hear about all your projects. Do you prefer handwriting or typing? And why? Let me know.